Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Kate and I make videos about books and bookish things. Or at least I did, until I kind of stopped reading. I'm back now though, and I guess that's kind of what I want to talk about. I haven't been online for quite a while, at least not in this form, as the pretentious poet on my YouTube channel, and I do have reason for that. It's been 6 months and I did kind of drop off, having promised at least one more video, which probably now won't come out, but I have reason for being away. Here is just a list of the things I've been up to while I was away. Can you understand now why I was too busy to make videos? But alongside all those reasons, I want to talk about the other one, and that is that I kind of haven't been reading. And so I wanted to talk about that because everything's content when you talk about stuff online for fun, I guess, and also because there is a general culture on booktube, the internet at large, where you kind of have to be constantly doing a thing in order to make it a part of your... To say brand feels really icky, and also I don't get paid to do any of this, and so to call it a brand feels disingenuous. Whatever you are associated with, you have to be doing it all the time, and I have not been reading, and to be honest, that's kind of been a weird thing for me. I'm gonna do the most English lit student thing I could possibly do at this point in time, which is to quote Oscar Wilde in order to kind of explain why I haven't been reading as much. If you want to be a grocer, or a general, or a politician, or a judge, you will invariably become it. That is your punishment. If you never know what you want to be, if you live what some might call the dynamic life, but what I will call the artistic life, if each day you are unsure of who you are and what you know, you will never become anything, and that is your reward. I believe it was then Stephen Fry who then effectively summed it up with this notion that if you are a writer, an actor, a reader, anything where you can stick a verb ending on it, you are then relegated to it and it becomes kind of your sentence. It is who you are, it is what you do, and therefore you cannot look outside of it. And for a very long time I defined myself as a reader. And so to then become less of one has been kind of interesting. I used to be the only reader in my friend group. It was a very, very rare occasion on which one of my friends would come over and say, hey, I read a good book recently, can I talk to you about it? And so it became a part of my identity, I feel. The fact that I was a reader made me unique. It was something I did that other people didn't do. And so as a result, it was important to me. It formed a part of how I defined myself. And so I was not so much just someone who read books as I was a reader, with that verb ending. And since coming to university, I am now no longer the only reader in my friend group. It is a rare thing for me to talk to one of my friends and them not have a book recommendation for me. I do an English lit degree and the majority of my friend group comes from people I met on my course. And to be clear, that is a very positive thing. I love being in a group of people who read a lot. But it meant that it was no longer an aspect of myself that I could sort of tout as a way of defining myself, of identifying, because if I was a reader, I was one among many. It was no longer one of my standout traits. My hobby was no longer something that made me interesting. And so, when I got busy with university, when my academic reading overtook my leisure reading, and when I was at home from university, I wanted a break from all the words, it kind of left a little gap in my life, to some extent. At the very least, I was no longer doing something that had previously been such a formative part of my day-to-day existence, which, I guess, to be honest, was founded on the self that I was at the point at which I began my gap year, during a pandemic. Which is also when I started this YouTube channel as a way to talk about books because none of my friends wanted to talk to me about them. That's a lie. My friends would very much endure me having these conversations, but I knew that to be able to talk to the extent that I wanted to about books, I mean, you've seen my videos, it is rare for me to be able to talk about a single book if I'm particularly passionate about it for under half an hour, and frequently it's closer to 50 minutes and I have to chop it back. But this self that I formed in the pandemic was very much formed of necessity, I feel. Let's be honest, everything got a bit shaky when the pandemic started, and so having things to hold with both hands, to fully enjoy as things to do, was a rarity and a treat and an important way to sustain ourselves in what was a very difficult time, and reading was very much that for me as well. Making videos, talking about books, it became a part of my identity because when I wasn't a student, when I wasn't doing anything, it gave me something to do. But then the pandemic ended and my gap year ended and I started university, and now I was in a group of people who read a lot and I was no longer the sole reader. Where did that leave me? I was still a reader, I was still reading lots, very much so, especially for my degree. I mean, I read 40 books alone across the academic year of my first year, but it wasn't something that defined me in the same way, and at the very least it wasn't something I clung to. However, to still be describing myself as a reader when I wasn't reading so much, or at the very least I didn't define myself as much by reading, felt strange, and in some ways I think I became intimidated of my own hobby. I have not read much this year, 2023. In fact, I have barely scratched the surface of my reading goal for the year. I aim every year to read 50 books because I believe it is a very manageable number for me. You know, it's about 1 book a week and I frequently read 2 books in a week, so it's a very much achievable goal within that. But I've been so busy doing reading for my degree and everything else at university, as I indicated, that I've not even read half of what I was meant to by July. And so to still be calling myself a reader when I wasn't really doing it created a level of pressure to start reading again, to fulfill that title. And so I kind of just let it slide. I found other ways of spending my time, of enjoying myself, and I very much enjoyed them, but here I was, surrounded by shelves of books that had previously been a symbol of something I really enjoyed that had now begun to kind of stress me out. What was a reader who didn't want to touch her books? And so now that I have spent a week just slowly getting back into reading, being unintimidated by my hobby, no pressure, no academic requirements, no personal requirements, just if I fancy picking up a book, picking up a book, I think I'm ready to start being someone who reads again. Not a reader, not defining myself by this hobby, but instead using it as a way to just spend time and enjoy myself. And so, for the same reasons, starting to make YouTube videos again, starting to read books and talk about them because it brings me joy. And so this is kind of my return to YouTube announcement, I guess. Not that it needed announcing, I could have just uploaded a different video tomorrow and it would have been just as fine, but I wanted the chance to actually stand here and talk about the fact that there is a lot of pressure to keep being the same person you always were, to keep enjoying the same things you always used to enjoy, and that if you start to fall out of love with something, even if you don't, I didn't, I still enjoyed reading, it was just also slightly stressful, to know that you can just kind of steer yourself in whatever direction you want. I think especially in the world of BookTube, where everyone seems to be reading 100+ books in a year, buying massive stacks, reading them all in one go, having a go-to genre, a go-to author, things that define their experiences and the ways that reading becomes such a big part of their life, it is hard to sit here and be like, actually, if I pick up 1 book a week, that's enough for me. And if I make a video maybe every couple of months talking about something that was truly spectacular to me, that's good enough for me. And so this is me talking a little bit about processing that thing of no longer identifying as a reader and just being someone who likes books quite a lot. Here's the TLDR. I stopped making videos because I stopped reading, and I stopped reading because putting the label of reader on myself was too much. And so now that I'm taking the pressure off, I'm able to enjoy reading again. I'm able to just read for leisure, and the books that I'm reading for leisure, it turns out I want to make videos about. So I am gently returning myself to position as your favourite over-enthusiast reader. No, someone who reads. And so you can expect to see me around again sometime soon, but I wanted to be able to say that is why I've been gone, and I have always intended to come back. I've just also been supremely busy. I'm here. I'm reading stupid amounts of books again. I read 3 books this week and it was lovely, and I'd like to talk about at least one of them. So yeah, here I am. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this was a lovely little mountain making out of a molehill for you, and a good reminder to not let your hobbies become punishments. Don't put too much pressure on yourself to keep enjoying things. Don't put too much pressure on yourself to make something of the thing you enjoy doing. Just be here and have fun and watch my videos if you like. But yeah, feel free to comment down below if you've had similar experiences, or if you've had not reading slumps but just general, you know, priority shifts and things like that, ways that you helped get yourself back into it, because I'm certain this is not a, you know, unique experience. So few things are. But yes, I wanted to talk about my experience with it. Give this video a like if you did indeed like it, and if you are new here, feel free to subscribe. I will be making more videos soon, or at the very least I hope to be. So yeah. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.